if straight edges and those little gaps at the start of the row are a problem for you, then you're going to absolutely love this technique. Hello my crochet friends, this is Sarah from Ned and Mimi, and in this video I'm going to show you how to work a stacked double crochet. Now if you are having issues with your turning chains leaving gaps in the edges of your work, or if you're finding it hard to keep your edges straight, then you are absolutely going to love this technique. So let's get right to it. So let's have a quick look at this double crochet swatch that I have made. So in these rows at the bottom section, I have started each row with a chain 3 that counts as 1 stitch. And it's a little bit lumpy and bumpy with a little bit of a gap, so not absolutely amazing. Then in the top rows, I have started these rows with a stacked double crochet. And you can see already that these stitches look a lot more like the regular double crochets, and they give us a nice straight edge and we don't have that same gap. So let's get right in and see how we work this stacked double crochet. Okay, so before I show you the stacked double crochet, let's just quickly go over how you might begin a double crochet row with a chain 3. So usually what you will see is turn and then chain 3 and a note or something else in there to say first chain 3 counts as 1 stitch. So what that means is that right over this stitch here, this is our first stitch of the next row. So that chain 3 is the first stitch. So what we would usually do is skip this first stitch, so not work into that because we've already created our first stitch, and we will continue with our double crochets in the next stitch. Okay. And doing it this way is not terrible, and the chain 3 is about the right height for the row. And actually, even with this yarn, because it is a worsted weight and it's a little bit thicker, it's not terrible. I usually find that this problem gets much worse the lighter weight yarn that you are using. But luckily there is a better way, and let's just rip back to the start of the row and begin it again. Okay. So we have turned our work, and now what we're going to do is we're going to work directly into this first stitch. So no turning chain, we're just going to work a single crochet straight into that first stitch. All right, so that's our first single crochet done. Now to create a double crochet out of this, we're going to stack another single crochet on top of this stitch that we just made. So you can see this loop on the left here. We are just going to insert our hook into that loop and make a single crochet. All right, and that is literally all there is to it. So you can see this stitch, it's not identical to a double crochet, but it is very, very similar. And we're not going to have this gap that we are getting with the chain 3. And I think possibly my favorite part about this stitch is that it makes working into this last stitch much, much easier. So I often find it a little bit tricky to figure out where exactly is the top of my chain 3 and wondering which loops do I work into of the turning chain. So this stacked double crochet just completely eliminates that problem. So let's just work a few more double crochets in the row, and you will just start to see how nice this actually looks. All right. So it looks great, doesn't it? I mean, you'd hardly even know that there was any difference to the beginning stitch. So what I'm going to do actually is let's just turn briefly and go back with another stacked double crochet. So we've done our single crochet without a turning chain, and then insert our hook just into that loop on the left and make another single crochet. Okay, so that's another stacked double crochet complete. And now when we get back to the last stitch, so our first stacked double crochet from the previous row, it is just so much easier to work into the top of that stitch than it is to work into a turning chain, in my opinion anyway. Okay, so doesn't that just look lovely? I think it's much, much nicer and much neater than having this chain 3. And actually I thought of a third benefit of this. So you know, if you need to work a border or work along the edge of the row, I always find that when I come to working around these chain threes, it actually makes the gap even more pronounced. So by having this stacked double crochet, it's also going to make your borders much neater too. Okay, so before I finish up, I'm actually just going to rip out what I've just done, and I'm going to show you how we can use the exact same technique to work a stacked treble crochet. All right, so let's imagine that we are at the start of a treble crochet row, and instead of working a chain 4 like we would normally do, and actually a chain 4 is even going to give us a more pronounced gap than the chain 3. So I think for a stacked treble crochet, this is going to work really well. All right, so we're going to make a single crochet without a turning chain. Then we are going to insert our hook into this loop on the left and make a single crochet. Okay, so that's our stacked double crochet done. And to make it a treble crochet, we're just going to repeat that same step. So insert our hook into that loop on the left and work a single crochet. And that is our stacked treble crochet. So let's just work a couple of more stitches. Now, okay, so again with this stitch, it just gives us a lovely neat first stitch and is going to help us get a lovely straight edge every time. So there you have it, that is our stacked double crochet, and I am not exaggerating when I say that this technique has been a complete game changer for me, and I really hope that it will be for you too. So until next time, happy crocheting and take care.